This is QTV Nightly News coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Umudu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. The police are investigating the death of a man whose partly burnt remains were found in the bushes of Bonto, and in another case have charged a man after he was caught pursuing children with a knife and cutlass. The mayor of Banjul, Rahim Malik Low, Monday launched the Banjul Safe City project, which aims to boost the city's economy, among others, benefits. The managing director of the National Roads Authority says the traffic congestion at Brusubi Roundabout and the Sukuta Jabang Junction is mainly due to poor driver behavior. The Ministry of Gender, in collaboration with partners, organized a national conference on female genital mutilation to commemorate the International Day of Zero Tolerance for FGM. And in international news, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the Middle East to discuss hostage negotiations and humanitarian aid to Gaza and the Israel-Hamas war as the Israel-Hamas war continues. Those were the news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. The police are investigating the death of a man whose partly burnt remains were found in the bushes of Bonto. The remains have been evacuated to the mortuary for post-mortem. The police PRO spoke to QTV's Mamadou Lamin Choi about this story and another involving a man who has been charged after being caught pursuing children with a knife and cutlass.
These are the remains of a man found in the bushes of Bonto. The police rushed to the scene after they were informed of the discovery. Bintanjai, the PRO of the Gambia Police Force, updated us about their preliminary findings of the matter.
We received information from someone that there is a body found in the bushes of Bonto, and we responded to the scene with some medical officers and found that it was shown that part of the body of that person looked burnt, whether it was as a reason of decay or something.
In addition to obtaining reports from people in the neighborhood of Bonto village, the police investigation team found other items at the scene. However, only the outcome of a post-mortem will conclude the circumstances or cause of death.
Close to where he was lying, there was burnt tires, and the person who reported the incident said he knows the person to be a suspected lunatic. So he had mental health issues, and that's his regular spot. We found some utensils that he uses, like cups, bottles, and stuff like that. So we also saw that we were told that he usually lights fire, maybe to warm himself up. So it could be as a result of him sleeping off and got burnt by the fire he used to warm himself. But we won't conclude with that. So we evacuated the body to the hospital for post-mortem to determine and ascertain the cause of death.
Another story which has been widely trending online relates to the man seen in this picture being escorted by the police in a pickup. Reports online suggest that he is in police custody after allegedly being caught with human heads meant for rituals. The PRO of the Gambia Police Force says this story is false.
So this guy that was alleged of being arrested by the police and that he's a ritualist, so far we have not gathered any information that he's a ritualist. We have constituted an investigation panel. Some people are saying he's mentally unstable, but that is not for us to determine or ascertain. We leave that to the court to send him to a psychiatric specialist to determine whether he's mentally stable or unstable. But so far, we have charged him with attempt to commit felony and threatening violence.
The man, who is in his mid or late 30s, was caught wielding a knife and cutlass and pursuing children in the bushes of Paneba village in the North Bank region. Fake news, like the one which had been circulating about this suspect, can be dangerous in the fight against crimes in the country.
So what this does is it instills fear in the hearts and minds of people, and it triggers people to walk in public armed, and that ends up increasing the rate and number of armed-related offenses and even murder.
The police force is mandated to combat crime through law enforcement. This heavy task becomes much easier when the public reports to the police incidences where they think a crime is about to be or has been committed. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
The Mayor of Banjul City Council, Rohey Malick Lowe, Monday launched the Banjul Safe City Project, which aims to create a clean, crime-free, child and women-friendly environment and boost the city's economy, among other benefits. Ansumane Sonyasi was at the launch and he now reports.
Among other aims, the project seeks to provide a national blueprint for collaborative development between local and central governments and international partners to deliver much-needed development for residents of the city and beyond. In her launch statement, Mayor Rohey Malick Lowe highlights how the project will help promote environmental safety, safety from gender-based violence, crime reduction, child-friendly safe spaces, and employment creation for young people. And she commends central government, UN agencies in the Gambia, and the business community for showing a strong interest in the Safe City project.
We take our time to make sure that we invite every stakeholder. We invite hardcore Banjulians to come and tell us what we should do. People who can change, people who are policymakers, people who are in the executive, in the judiciary, people who are doing business here. Come and tell us how we can do Banjul to become a city like Kigali. Indeed, we can do it. This is a very small capital city.
The Ministers of Tourism, Environment and Public Service, Hamad Bah, Rohijon Manjang and Babukar Boy, respectively, also underscored the importance of the project and how its successful implementation will impact the country's development trajectory.
You are committed in making it clean. We will support you. And I have already told the permanent sector, as we leave here, we will send a request to the Gambian Tourism Board through the governing council of the board to commit funds immediately towards this project.
I'm not sure how Mayor would handle the day that she would like to say, we are going to zone the capital when it comes to businesses. Then meaning they will not see any vendor on the street selling banana, selling get reserve, selling any other thing that the penetrating would have their own zoning. That is how Kigali is. I'm not sure whether you are ready to face the Banjulian or those in the Congo and tell them that, but we have to do it.
Try to do something because we want to attract outsiders. No. Let's do it because we believe that it's best for us. It's going to serve us better. That's what we need.
UNFPA country representative Ndairo Sarr says her organization acknowledges with keen interest the opportunities that the project will create for women and young girls, especially in safeguarding their rights, and gave assurances of the UN system's support in the implementation of the project. Latir Kar, project consultant, says the project will significantly transform the capital city by providing security while promoting development, adding that the project will also eliminate gender-based violence, improve environmental and personal safety, as well as reduce poverty. He added that it will also provide the framework for the implementation of similar projects across the country. The key stakeholders leading the project implementation are the BCC, the Ministries of Works, Environment and Tourism, UNFPA and the Gambia Police Force. Answana Nyasi for KTV News.
The Managing Director of the National Roads Authority says the traffic congestion at Brusubi Roundabout, known as Turntable, and the Sukuta Jabang Junction is mainly due to poor driver behavior. He made this remark in an interview that I had with him. The 22-kilometer OIC road project, which runs from the airport junction to Sting Corner, is at least 75% complete. Despite being partially opened, there are frequent complaints that traffic jam is a nightmare at the Brusubi Roundabout and Sukuta Jabang Junction. Traffic congestion makes it take longer to get to your destination, and travel times are unpredictable. People are frequently late to work and other appointments. Osman Sanyang, the Managing Director of the National Roads Authority, admitted that traffic congestion is a problem, but places much of the blame on poor driver behavior.
Now, I'm not saying that the road is not congested because you can see it, but there are some things that are cropping up at the moment in terms of our understanding of what the issues are. And again, I mean, some of these things, most of it is driver behavior that's happening at these junctions. You wouldn't believe it. I mean, people are actually picking up and dropping off people at the roundabout. In fact, within the roundabout, we've seen that. Again, as I said in this morning's program, where in the world do you see a market and also a garage at a junction? That's what's happening at Bruceby, for example. Going towards Tangier, you've got taxis parked there. Going towards Brufut, Sukuta, you've got taxis there.
The newly reconfigured Berthel-Harden Highway has 3 lanes on either side, with a flyover at the Coastal Road Junction, a roundabout at the Sukuta-Jabang Junction, and another flyover at Bruceby, with a roundabout beneath. These new road improvements are intended to ease and smooth traffic, but so far there have been daily traffic jams in these areas. Usman Sanyang shared some tips on how to use the roundabouts.
The roundabout is a junction. That's what it is. And the rules of junction operation hasn't changed in this country. If you approach a junction in this country, you stand, you wait. If you are not on the priority route, you wait, and you give traffic to the person coming from the left. That's simple. That's the same way the roundabout operates. It doesn't matter whether you are coming on a 3x3 on the Berthel-Harden, which is a 3x3, it's 3 lanes of road. So people think that they're coming on it. It's a major road. Somebody coming from Kololi or Senegambia, which is a 1x1, they just shoot across.
One of the most significant features on the OIC road so far has been the high rate of accidents, some of them fatal. Just as we are about to broadcast this story, news emerged of yet another taxi-related accident near the Coastal Road. According to the NRA boss, there are safety plans to reduce accidents, which will be visible and accessible once the road is completed.
When it is finished, you will have safe crossing points for people, as it is at the moment, because when the road is finished, you will have barriers either side. People cannot cross wherever they want. They will cross at designated places. And those designated places will be safe for both able and disabled people and the elderly and people with children. So it's going to be designed like that.
It remains to be seen whether driver behavior will improve, leading to a better travel experience once the road project is completed. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News. We'll now go for a commercial break, and when we return, we still have some more news for you. Do stay tuned.
The future is now with QCell's 5G network. Experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled devices. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Looking for the perfect place to promote your product or place your advert? Look no further than QTV. We are the premier destination for businesses looking to connect with Gambian audiences and beyond. At QTV, we offer a variety of advertising solutions to suit your needs and budget. With our diverse range of programming, you can be sure that your ad will reach a broad and engaged audience. From our popular news broadcast to our exciting music and entertainment programming, QTV has something for everyone. QTV, the premier destination for advertising in the Gambia. Contact us today and let us help you reach your audience.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. The Ministry of Gender, in collaboration with partners, organized a national conference on female genital mutilation commemorating Zero Tolerance Day for FGM. The event brought together ex-circumcisers, survivors, students, imams, and civil society organizations. Lena Igwenyiba tells us more.
In 2015, the Gambia amended the Women's Act 2010 to explicitly criminalize FGM. However, there was a recent Gambian parliamentary debate where more than 20 National Assembly members spoke in favor of repealing the laws prohibiting FGM, sparking criticism from various rights groups. Despite this, Ndairo Sarr, the UNFPA resident representative, acknowledges progress in combating FGM in the Gambia.
Today, a girl is 1/3 less likely to undergo FGM than 30 years ago, which means that our efforts are yielding results. So we should not relent, we have to continue. We especially recognize the role of traditional and religious leaders who can be powerful allies in eradicating FGM. We call on them, whether they are here today or they will hear us. Let us dialogue. We are not afraid to sit and explain the pain, the psychological pain that we go through when we are submitted to FGM.
Rohiyatu Ka, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, representing the Minister of Gender, highlights key statistics on FGM in the Gambia.
According to 2018 Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey, 50.6% of girls aged 0 to 14 years and 75.7% of women aged 15 to 49 years had undergone FGM. The 2029-2020 Gambia Demographic and Health Survey shows a slight decrease. 73% of women aged 15 to 49 years undergoing the procedure compared to 75% in 2013.
Seni MCC, a survivor, and Kumba Damba, an ex-circumciser, discussed the state of female genital mutilation in the Gambia.
During my teenage years, I could feel that my period was not normal. They sealed me to a point where the period could not come out like the normal girl. So I can see my period this month and don't see it for 3 other months. Fast forward, I got married. They took me to my husband's house and he could not penetrate through me because of the ceiling.
Mutilation used to occur, but with increased understanding and knowledge about its consequences, we ceased the practice. We realized the suffering it caused, and thanks to organizations like Tostan and health organizations, we were educated about its harmful effects and chose to abandon it.
Abdul Karim Jallo, a midwife and medical professional, provides first-hand insight into the medical implications of FGM through his experience delivering women in labor.
Mutilation is prevailing in this country as much as possible. The clitoris is being cut. This is a nerve center, very sensitive, and is solely and wholly responsible of sexual desire. And it is the one which is responsible of stretching the vagina during delivery. So if you cut it and it becomes gangrene, what are you expecting? Poor delivery, poor outcome. As far as I'm concerned, as health personnel, the FGM should be condemned, it should be stopped.
The International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, observed annually on February 6th, provides an opportunity for stakeholders to celebrate achievements, advocate abandonment of the practice, and raise awareness. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwenyiba.
From that report, now to international news. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the Middle East to discuss hostage negotiations and humanitarian aid to Gaza as Israel forces and Hamas militants fight on in Khan Yunis. Alif Sise has more.
This is U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's fifth visit to the Middle East since October 2023. He arrived in Saudi Arabia on Monday, hoping to secure a new truce in the Israel-Hamas war. His visit comes amid escalating tensions in the Middle East as the United States carried out strikes on Iranian-linked targets in Iraq and Syria, as well as the Houthi rebels' sites in Yemen. Blinken will focus on advancing talks on the return of the estimated 132 hostages abducted and still being held by Hamas and affiliated armed groups in exchange for a temporary ceasefire in Gaza. Ahead of his departure, Blinken said it is important to urgently address the humanitarian needs in Gaza after aid groups have repeatedly sounded the alarm over the devastating impact on the besieged territory during the early 4 months of war. The U.S. Secretary of State is expected to visit Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, Israel, and the West Bank. Given the US's unconditional support for Israel, it is not sure how fruitful Secretary of State Blinken's efforts will be. Meanwhile, the Israel military continue to conduct raids in central and northern Gaza. In Khan Yunis, Israel forces say they killed dozens of fighters who ambushed the troops throughout the city. Israel said Khan Yunis is where militants prepared for the October 7 attack and that high-ranking Hamas officials were hiding here. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad militant groups said on social media platform Telegram that it carried out several attacks on Israel soldiers in Khan Yunis. The Gaza Health Ministry in the Hamas-controlled area said 128 people were killed overnight to Monday in the besieged territory. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, Gaza Chief Thomas White, wrote on social media that a food convoy waiting to move into Gaza was hit by Israel naval gunfire, but no one was injured. UNRWA itself is facing a major controversy after accusations that 12 staff who have since been dismissed were involved in Hamas' October 7 attack. More than a dozen countries, led by the US, suspended their funding to the agency after the claims surfaced. The United Nations Secretary General has set up an independent committee to assess the claims. So far, the war on Gaza has left over 27,000 people killed, including 122 journalists and 66,000 injured. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
Also in international news, more than 1,000 migrants in 18 boats have arrived in Spain's Canary Islands from sub-Saharan countries over the past 3 days. As Jenna Bosonko reports, a body was found in one of the boats.
The statistics of this migrant influx is according to Spanish Marine Rescue Service, SESAMAR. Most of the boats depart from Mauritania. The Spanish non-profit organization Walking Borders says more than 6,600 migrants died while trying to reach Spain by boat last year, most of them on the Atlantic route. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and European Union President Ursula von der Leyen will visit some West African countries on Thursday to encourage authorities to try to curtail the departures. Spanish's Interior Minister says a record of 55,618 migrants and asylum seekers arrived by boat, most of them in the Canary Islands. Last year, almost double the number for the previous year. Spain and European Union have cooperation agreements with both Mauritania and neighboring Senegal to try to reduce the number of migrants and asylum seekers arriving on the islands. Spain spends a lot of money on 4 areas: border protection, surveillance, detention and expulsion of irregular migrants, reception and integration of migrants. Over 35,000 Gambians arrived in Europe by irregular migration means between 2014 and 2018, with many others in Africa along the central Mediterranean route opting for voluntary return. In another development, the Italian authorities have arrested 14 migrants from 9 countries for their alleged involvement in the demonstrations at a repatriation center following the death of a migrant from Guinea. After the body was discovered, migrants at the center began setting mattresses on fire and throwing objects at law enforcement personnel. One group attacked parked police vehicles, setting one of them on fire, while another group entered a room where law enforcement kept personal items, which they destroyed. The suspects also destroyed 8 video cameras, according to the police. The authorities used tear gas to calm the unrest. 3 officers were injured. The suspects are from Morocco, Pakistan, Guinea, Cuba, Chile, Senegal, Tunisia, Nigeria, and the Gambia. An Italian lawmaker who visited the center on Sunday said the 21-year-old Guinean migrant hanged himself after expressing despair at not being able to return home to his family. Some people in Italy have called for the closure of these centers, citing the long detention of migrants and failure to repatriate them to their country of origin. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
Now, before we end this news bulletin, here's a recap of our main news headlines. The police are investigating the death of a man whose partly burnt remains were found in the bushes of Bonto, and in another case have charged a man after he was caught pursuing children with a knife and cutlass. The mayor of Banjul, Rohey Malick Lowe, Monday launched the Banjul Safe City project, which aims to boost the city's economy amongst other benefits. The managing director of the National Roads Authority says the traffic congestion at Brusubi Roundabout and the Sukuta Jabang Junction is mainly due to poor driver behavior. The Ministry of Gender, in collaboration with partners, organized a national conference on female genital mutilation to commemorate the International Day of Zero Tolerance for FGM. And in international news, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the Middle East to discuss hostage negotiations and humanitarian aid to Gaza as the Israel-Hamas war continues. Well, that's it in this edition of QTV News. Thank you very much for watching. Join us again at 10 for another bulletin.